down. I'm the one you call when you need a tin up or down. I'm a tent rental man, I'm working all day, getting those stakes in the ground no matter what they say. From sunrise to the night, I make sure everything's right. Yeah, I'm a tent rental man, I'm working all day.
Welcome to another episode of Under the Vinyl, a rental management media podcast. As always, I got my co-host Kyle. Kyle, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, Nate. I'm on the road, in the field this week, so we're doing this on the fly.
Love it, love it. What you got going on?
I'm doing a 15 meter by 25 meter garden tent down in North Carolina. So not that big, but good enough job to travel for.
Absolutely, and the white one, I assume?
Yeah, we're doing the white one, Holland Park's white one.
Awesome, that's fun,
I got those big doors in before I left for this, so I don't have to worry about that. The guys can put tops in while I'm doing this.
I did see a nice picture of those, and I can't wait to see how those turn out. They look excellent. I actually want to hear how the install of those was, how the install went on those, because those are they look like a whole nother beast.
I'll give it to Fred. He designed them right. So they go in, they're attached to the gable legs all the time, so it's actually not that bad. You just raise the arch with them already installed.
We'll have to look for the videos on that, but perfect transition to we got a great guest on today. She's actually a new member of the Fred's Tent world. Tarryn Prosper, how you doing, Tarryn?
I'm great, guys. Thank you. How are you?
Great. We're glad to have you on today. I know we saw you disappear for a minute from the industry, and now you're back in full force, and love it. So we figured we'd get you on here to tell a little bit about what you've been doing and what's going on. But first, just tell us a little bit about how you got into this crazy industry and what took you to get to Fred's.
Sure. I think we could probably fill a whole hour on that, but I think I got into the industry the way many people did, which is by accident. I started off at a international event planning company about a little over maybe 16 or 17 years ago. They worked in a lot of tented projects, and so a lot of design focused in that organization. And design isn't really for me. I don't really care if you have phalaenopsis orchids or dahlia season or what your linen is, but I was always really intrigued by the design opportunity and the capability with inside tenting and temporary structures. So my job was to build the temporary event spaces. And at the time, I worked really closely with a company called Peterson Party Center. Now they're Peak Event Services. And Bob Traina, the former owner, and I were very close. And he asked me essentially one day, if I would ever consider jumping the fence. And at first, to be honest, it went right over my head, and I just had a great chat with him and didn't realize he was asking me to come work for him. And then finally it clicked, and he said, "Yeah, kiddo, I was asking if you'd come on." So I did, and entered into the rental side of things. Peak at the time, or Peterson Party Center at the time, was a local provider. And so for over the past 9 or so years, was able to grow them to be a regional and then ultimately a national provider. Earlier this year, I just kind of decided it was time to take a little bit of a break. Someone had said to me recently that you only get 80 summers in your life, about.
Wow.
And I had this moment of like, I've already burned up a good portion of my summers. So I think it's time that I take one for myself. I was calling it my Rumspringa.
This episode of Under the Vinyl is brought to you by Anchor Industries, a fifth generation, family-owned company making tents and clear span structures right here in the US of A.
Anchor isn't just about selling great products. They bring decades of experience and stand beside you as the business grows. With Anchor's craftsmanship and engineering, you'll have a peace of mind knowing your equipment is built to last season after season.
And for the next generation of rental owners and installers, Anchor is more than just your supplier. They're a trusted partner helping guide you to the right products to help grow your business.
Give them a call today to connect with your sales rep, 1-800-544-4445, or visit anchorinc.com.
And so I did. Took the summer off, traveled a ton, had a blast. And when I decided to leave Peak, I was calling some of my key customers and friends, and Fred Tracy was the maybe second person that I called, and it was just out of consideration, hey, I'm leaving. And he's you want to work for me? I was like, whoa, this is not the time to have that conversation. I'm emotional. I have a lot going on. But once I settled down a little bit, I kind of took a look at what I wanted next in my career and what's important to me, and determined this was a good fit. So I'm officially going on, today's my 7th day, or if you ask anyone around here, I've been saying I work here for 7 years because it's been like drinking from a fire hose. But really happy where I landed and looking forward to the next phase in my career.
That's awesome. So
Awesome.
did you feel like you hit a stage where you just need to take a break? Like it had just been a lot for you in this industry?
Yeah, it's like you get, growth is fun, but growth is hard.
Yeah.
And when it's wearing on you, and now we all went also survived those COVID years, which that's a multiple. So sure, I worked at Peak for 9 years, but in like COVID years, it's really like 42 years or something. It really, it weared on me, and I needed a break. It was a good time for a transition. And I would advise anyone who's thinking they need to take some time for themselves, a good old rum spring is worth it.
Well, I think we've all been there and thought it in our mind, but this industry just doesn't stop. So taking that time is hard. I think we are also thankful for some of our areas where we can take a little bit of a break in the off season, but now it's almost become a full year-round season. So with everybody traveling and things like that. So talk to us a little bit about at Peak. What were your day-to-day job duties, and were you on every site? Were you in every sale? Were you managing the team? How did that work?
Sure. So I was the VP of Sales for the tent division. So if you don't know, with Peak, they have what's called the core division, which is their party rentals, tables, chairs, china, crystal, silver. Then they have the tent division. And so there's two totally separate but parallel verticals. So I was responsible for that tent vertical. So I had a team of project managers underneath me. We didn't refer to the sales team as salespeople. We referred to them as project managers. So about 13, I think, at its peak, project managers underneath me. We had permitting, inventory, really, every facet of the tent side of the business. So was I on every job site? No, my team was really the ones out front and center. Certainly certain projects I would be on site for and would try to support my team as much as possible, popping in when appropriate. But really I was that, it's that revolving door in front of my office, the line of ticket takers like at the deli. So I was there to just guide them, keep everyone rowing in the same direction at the same pace. And, making sure that strategically we were all aligned. We acquired, as many of you know, many different businesses along the way. So integrating those businesses, those teams, those inventory, culture, clients, all of that. And then, of course, working regularly on the growth strategy. While I was there, we opened locations in other parts of the Northeast, as well as expanding to Florida. So, every day, and I'm sure you guys say this as well, and many of the listeners do too, you kind of go to work and say, or if people ask you, what are you going to do today? I'm like, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever
Whatever
walks through the
comes
door
up.
first.
Yeah. I have a plan. I know what I want to do. I know what I need to accomplish, but we all know that that's not happening. So, but it's the joy of what we do, right? Is like, it's moving so fast. Things are changing. There's so many different dynamic projects and people that you encounter. So it was a fun, very fun and educational time at Peak. I really, really enjoyed it.
What was
Kind of
one of your
balance.
favorite projects there at
There you
Peak?
go.
Oh gosh. So there are a few. They usually include like tales of woe, right? When you overcome something, it makes it that much better. But I think I'm just going to go with one of the last large projects that we did while I was at Peak, and it was a structure on the south lawn of the White House. I've had a great career working at the White House a lot. I met my husband at the White House. So south lawn of the White House, we tented over the fountain, which had never been done before. So the fountain was inside of the structure. We did multiple step-down gables to work within the tree line, and different leg heights, 5.4 down to 4, to make sure the eaves and the view of the White House and the different monuments made sense. And And I think that project, from its design, well, the speed of the project, the design of it, and ultimately the implementation, I'm super proud of the team, and it was a fun thing to be a part of, and a great way to end 2024.
And how did you kind of balance the creativity and logistics when planning complex events like that?
Oh boy, that's another hour. So, it's always about starting with what the customer thinks they want versus what they need. And so we kind of distilled down the product that we all work with, tents, right, into just a pile of parts. And how can I take this pile of parts and be creative in my output to give the client what they need? And give them something that nobody else has, that is satisfying, their end user, because sometimes we're working with a planner who's working with an end user client, satisfy that end user's needs. So sort of start with the creativity piece. How can we build what we want to with the pile of parts that we have and configure them in a way that is fun, creative, and makes sense? And then identify the gaps. If we have any gaps, who can we bring in? People like Fred's, which I did on many occasions, to support filling those gaps, those little missing parts, so that we can take something next level. And then logistically, continually aligning with, we had a great ops team that we were in constant communication with, and making sure that everyone was on the same page of what are we doing? How are we doing it? When are we doing it? We had a great project planning tool, web-based, that was also an app that we would put real-time data in, so that everyone had the information at the same time, both in pre-production, during production, and then post-production. So definitely relied on our IT systems and some technology to make sure that we were logistically balancing that those creative elements in a way that made sense for everyone. Because I like to live in this idea, or this space of disrupting the white rectangle. So love me a good old tent, but if we can make it anything but a white rectangle, we'll do that. And that comes with a lot of layers and a lot of communication.
That's why I kind of asked that question. I know just from looking at your Instagram and everything and seeing what you've done in the industry, you have a very creative mind. So that's why I was wondering where you go with the logistics and the creativity part, because I know that you're a very creative person, it seems like.
I appreciate that. I think going back to the origins of my career, that's the fun stuff for me. I think we have the challenge of creating these environments that feel right. And how do you convey that to someone? How do you convey that to a planner, to an end user, to a rental house, that the tent's going to feel great? What does that even mean?
Right.
But that's the challenge that I like. And it's when the flow makes sense, when the entrance looks good, when the stage has a backdrop that the planner can make a wow moment. Like, all those little things make a lot of sense. I had a customer, I had a job about 15 years ago when I was at that planning company, when we had this awkward path entrance to the tent. Tent was on an eave. We had a door. All I did was put a 22.5-degree eyebrow over the front of the door, changed everything. It just made it make sense. And the owner of the company at the time, he commented on that, how this one little piece changed everything about the feel.
Guide your eyes. Guide your eyes right in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's always what I'm thinking about. What's that one little thing or big thing that will really make it all come together and have the tent feel great?
And you're very rare in that part where you can understand what goes into it compared to a normal planner, where some of these planners, they look at their Pinterest, they look at things like that, but they just don't understand the logistical aspect of it. And with you've got that creative part, but you know what it takes to be able to build that and how you can do that. Because I think with me and Kyle, or anybody like us, we know the logistics part, but then we'll figure it out a year later. We're like, oh God, we talked about this a year, and now we got to get it done. And how are we going to do this? And now we're calling on people like manufacturers to help us really dig in and get this stuff done. So yeah, it's I feel like those those creativity things are a tender's nightmare, but also what draws those customers back and to keep coming back in those special moments for sure.
I think that's what I like about where I'm at now and sort of the next level of my career is that I can take that practical application of the product and apply it in this light. So I know that, you know, an installer is going to need to be pushing this up by hand, or they're going to need a crane, or they're going to need this, you know, this type of forklift. And does this really make sense? Does what we're doing here make sense for the guys in the field to do what they need to do? I mean, the giant doors that Kyle's working on right now are just installed. You know, what does that installation really look like? So that we can provide a product that makes sense for you, isn't a burden for you, and then ultimately achieves the client's goals. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, kind of marrying all of that together.
Well, and you're at the perfect place for that because Fred loves that. So that between the two of you, I can see a lot of great innovation coming out of there in the next few years.
Watch out.
Well, the creativity in general, now you can help guide those people, and now you're not on site doing it, or you're not at a company where you're trying to figure out, you're calling on somebody else. Now you can almost mentor people on how to do that and be creative. With that said, who were some of your mentors that have kind of guided you up through this moment to get here and be that person?
So there are many, but a few. So Bob Traina's a big one for me. He definitely saw in me what I didn't see in myself at the time, and I really owe this the success of my career, the launch, to him, and giving me the latitude and the support to grow the business the way that I did. There's some folks in the industry like Liz Wilson and Mel Kadikian. I mean, they're just powerhouses that have really paved the way for me. Being a female executive, it's, you know, it's a new place to be. At least 10 years ago, it was a little bit like, I don't know where I fit in all this, but, you know, really leaned on them a lot and really appreciate what they've done. And then, of course, you know, many of the executive folks that I've worked with over at Peak, our former CEO, Jen, really appreciate her leadership style in that I could walk in and say, hey, I don't agree with you about this, and would work through it. Not many people provide that opportunity for you to push, pull, and find the best solution. And I think that's a leadership style that, you know, I look for in leaders that I'm hiring, or places where I want to be a part of, where you can have that open dialogue and come to a resolution or an answer. Because I don't have the answer, you don't have the answer. It's somewhere in between. We are in this room at this table because we need to collaborate and figure out the best approach. And when people can really do that, that's very important to me. And so I greatly appreciate all the work that she did in kind of guiding me too.
Well, that was another question, is just being a female in this industry that has been predominantly dominated by males. And we have so many young females that are finally coming into this industry and making a strong push to really make a difference in this industry. And you touched on Liz, and I think Liz is one of those great ones that I noticed first in the industry that made an impact on it, and then followed by you and just seeing the things that you've done. And so touch on that, on how it's been as for you being a female in this industry, and how you have felt received by that.
That's a loaded question. Nate.
We got to dig into the deep stuff here.
Yeah, you want to? You really want to?
Yeah.
So it's been a journey, right? I mean, you don't come into this industry without some type of thick skin, right? You don't even walk through the door, because we're built different. Tenters are built different, period, the end. That's just is what it is. So I think, you know, I sort of had a lot of those skills inside of me that helped me navigate what the past, 15 plus years looked like. But yeah, I mean, the journey was tough at times. In the beginning, when I had first started at Peak or Peterson Party Center, and I'm kind of, Bob's starting to exit from his role, and I'm sort of coming in, and it was a little bit like what's happening. I got a lot of, you're in charge of those guys? Like, what were you? Yeah, me. So,
Yep.
but I used to just tell people I was like the younger, cuter Bob, and that sort of just made it work. But everyone, people were really helpful, receptive. I'm a big personality. I don't take no for an answer. I break down doors. I kind of cut through the BS. So I never let anything hold me back. I never let anyone stop me. And if someone doesn't understand who I am, where I come from, and where I fit, I want to help them figure that out. I'm not going to shut it down. I'm not going to end the conversation. I'm not going to put them on the cancel list. Like, let's figure out a way for this all to make sense. And I mean, fast forward 2025, I'm thrilled. Like you said, there's a number of young women that are owners, they're leaders, they're tenters. And I think that's the outcome that I want to see. I don't want it to be like, you're a female in tenting. It's like, no, you are in tenting.
Correct.
You are a leader in tenting. We don't have to distinguish between the two. This is just your place where you live and you excel at it, period, the end.
Well, I just think that there's a lot of women in this industry that have maybe been very timid to have a bigger voice in it, and it's good to see them make this push forward now and, just say we're here and we're making a difference, and it's cool. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So
Yeah.
that's great. So now being over at Fred's, what is going to be your current role, and what's kind of your areas? What are you doing?
Again, day 7, or year 7, as I'm calling it. So I don't know. But my role is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing. I am taking on the sales team and the marketing engine here at Fred. So that is high level what my purview is. What that ultimately looks like on the day to day is still being flushed out. But it's customer experience, it's efficiencies, it's growing the team, supporting the team, brand story, all those basics. So we'll see. Lots to unpack and lot to do.
So not as much as a full-on sales role in a territory, more of like a business development role over the salespeople.
Yeah, exactly. Growing and leading the team. And I want to actually punctuate that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where I thrive. That's what I love to do. And sales is fun. I love sales. There's nothing, don't get me wrong, but there is nothing that brings me more joy than coaching someone to be successful in an environment and watching them succeed, watching them struggle, watching them iterate, watching them improve, and then watching them succeed. That is what I love to do. And so I'm hopeful that here I can just continue to build. There's a fantastic team at Fred's, by the way, like absolutely fantastic. So I want to continue to support them, empower them, and just help them be the best version of themselves in their role. And that's what brings me joy.
Well, you always want somebody to want your job, and you want to have that next successor, and to be hiring and to motivate them and things like that. So I think that's fantastic in the way that you're leading. So what's kind of your process for leading the team under tight timelines and the pressure for all this stuff that you guys are going to probably be getting coming up with this new season in 2026. I know as we go into the wintertime here, that's kind of where all the manufacturers ramp up for sales and everything like that. So what's that looking like for you in day 7 so far?
So trying to get my arms around all of it. Unfortunately, but fortunately for Fred's, they lost one of their, worst offenders for those tight timelines, turnarounds. It was me.
Is that yourself?
Yeah, it was me. I was always the one like, I need this. And I actually will tell you, just a quick sidebar, I think when you guys talked to Fred, he mentioned like a last minute job for a customer that had a weather related event, and that was me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Called him on a Saturday. Will you please help me? Tent was torn apart by a hailstorm and Swiss cheesed, and he's like, yeah, I'll help you. I was like, okay. I cried. This whole thing. That was me.
And that's why we all love Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they turned that around within like 36 hours. It was remarkable, and the amount of work that I needed done was remarkable. So, so I know what it's like to be the bad guy, I guess. And there's a lot that I need to peel, a lot of layers I need to peel back, a lot of things that I need to understand, and ultimately the goal is how do we best support the customers in your projects? Because as we know, in our industry, there is no tomorrow. It is only today. How do we keep that philosophy while supporting the members of the team internally? So once I figure that all out, I'll probably write a book and retire, but I'll work on it every day and do the best I can to make sure that you guys all look like rock stars. That's the goal.
Well, having somebody on the inside like yourself that has been on the outside like us, you understand it in the timelines that we go through and the pressure that we have on us. So when we call you for the last minute stuff or we need this or we need that, you're going to be like, okay, I get it. I know. And you're going to make it happen. And so I think that's huge to have an asset like that on the team.
I'm sure whatever we're asking for is less than something she's ever had to ask for last minute. So
Yeah, that's probably true. Probably true.
Yeah.
she's like,
I
"Oh,
put
that's
some-
it? That's all you need?"
I've put them through some serious shit. So I don't know if we can swear on this, but
You
yeah.
can swear all you want. So what trends or innovations are you guys most excited about, or what do you see coming down the pipeline over there at Fred's for this next season? Or what do you want to see? What is something you want to see?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. I want to say all the things, but I can't because we have Matra in 2 weeks from today, and you're going to see it all in real life. Can't give you a sneak peek, Nate. That's not how this
works. Can you pull back
works.
the curtain just a hair?
No, I think, one of the things we're targeting or highlighting this year is it's the 20th anniversary of our Stillwater sailcloth series. So, we're appreciating the legacy of the product and also looking at what does the future of that look like. So, there's some opportunity there. But I think in general, it's, we're seeing across the board, I'm sure all manufacturers and rental houses are seeing people continually transition to more frame and structure product, clear span product. So, it's how do we best service those markets? How do we best provide the organizations with what they need for, color is a big one. Kyle, you're on site doing that white structure right now, which is an industry leading product. And so what does that look like? I mean, it's ultimately the creativity. It's the idea, the monster that we've created is the disruption of the white rectangle, which was the goal, right? But now we're living in the goal and we're like, oh shoot, there's pink rectangles and blue ones. And how do we navigate all this? And they're not even rectangles anymore. So
I want to touch, Tarryn. Why do you think the industry is changing so much away from we're moving all towards structure and frame time like you just talked about? What's your opinion on that whole shift?
I think it comes down to the customization and the ability to have that vanilla box. So when you're designing out an interior on a frame tent or clear span, you have a little bit more opportunity for design, whereas the opportunity is just different for design with a tension style product. So that doesn't mean that I don't think that those products are going to go away or anything. I mean, they have their place and people love them and they will continue to love them and people will love the Stillwater hopefully for another 20 years. But I think it all comes down to design. It's that Instagram worthy shot that says mine is just like yours, but different. And there's more opportunity to do that in those products.
I feel like everybody's doing that. They love the garden tent, but everybody's like, how can we do it a little bit different? Because everybody wants it, but everybody wants just a little bit of a twist to it.
Well, we got to figure out what the next color is because someone needs to be ordering that rapidly because white will be out within 6 months. It'll be something new.
Right. And at what point do we temper it and just say like, okay, let's collectively stop the madness and not have every Pantone color available? Or
we've had the white P3 frame for probably 3 years now that we had Fred do, and it's just now in the past year and a half or so really making a push. I feel like to where it's coming out because people understand they don't have to drape it more, things like that.
Exactly.
but colors are a little bit tougher. The one that's really stuck out for us has been the wood grain tent. The P3, we did the wood grain in the P3, and that sticks out a ton. But I think I don't want to be getting a dang pink tent, or I don't want to be doing blue tents and different things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but how can we create different looks of tents without having to change the colors? Maybe do different
Yeah.
styles like the garden tent. Now our guys are just going to continue to hate us because putting all those pieces together, they just love it. But I think that we go with different variations and not just the box style tent is what you're saying, but maybe not so much the colors.
Yeah. Who knows? I think the social media world will tell us what they want,
It
and
will.
we will listen,
We
and we
will.
will iterate. We'll be on this a year from now being like, did you do the burgundy? I did the taupe. Did you do the,
It's what planner's going to call tomorrow in her group of planners friends, and what conversations did they
Yeah.
have that they could be the first one to do
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
exactly how it's going to be.
And we'll be like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we do because we
Yep.
never say no, unfortunately.
That's
Well,
true.
with that, let's talk about just personal stuff. When you're not producing events, how do you unwind and find inspiration, just to come back to the industry and feel like you're motivated?
Yeah. So I have the worst answer for this, and it's probably why I needed my Rumspringa. I didn't. Like, I just truly am like, and was a 24/7 person, working across the country in different time zones with a big team. There was always something happening and always something actioning. And so I was just going and going and going and going. I've learned, or am learning, to take a step back. I'm a big yoga person. I'm getting back into that. That's a big fun thing for me. I live on the coast in Massachusetts. Yeah. I live on the coast in Massachusetts, so I'm an ocean person. Just kind of taking that time with on the beach is always a good thing to kind of clear the mind. But I'm not that exciting when it comes to outside of work. I'm kind of lame, so I have no problem admitting that because it's who I am. Yep.
Well, I feel like that's
mean,
so many people in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're like, just turn off the brain. I don't want like anything happening in my brain for at least an hour.
There's many weekends that I wish that I would have taken a company cell phone versus a company/personal cell phone but I'm also that person that doesn't want to miss the call, but I want to miss the call.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't say no. You got to
can't.
answer it at 9:00 at night on a Saturday, or last weekend I had it at 10:00 on a Sunday. So it's just like trying to find that time to even just put the phone down for a little while and be very intentional about the time that you're spending or what you're doing and relaxing. It doesn't matter if you're relaxing, just set it down.
Nate, I remember when I actively decided to take the ping off of my email notifications on my phone. It was like a real decision. Like, am I gonna be okay if it doesn't ping every time I get an email? And I was okay, but it took a long time.
It's funny you say that because about 8-9 months ago, it was the beginning of this year, right when this year took off. I think I have always had my notifications on my emails. I'm an inbox zero person, so if my inbox is full, if my inbox is full, I stress out and I can't stop my day until the inbox is gone. So, or it's got to go to a folder, it's got to have a home, it's just got to be cleared out. So I was constantly pinging, and every time it was pinging, I was constantly finishing it off. And same thing with Instagram. If you message me, you might not get a message for a longer period of time versus what it was because I was so in it all the time. But I have turned off all my notifications on all my apps on my entire phone except for my messages and phone calls. Everything else is off. And to your point, it felt like a weight off my shoulders, as weird as that is. But I think we live in such a world where our phone is ringing off the hook all the dang time that an email will set us off too.
Totally.
I'm not saying I'm ignoring your email at all. I just
it's true.
may not answer it right there in that second, but I'm going to get to you before the end of the day.
And at the end of the day,
we live in the world
collectively.
Yeah, we live in well, everyone lives in instant gratification, and we know we have to give everyone that gratification.
Correct.
So it's
Yep.
hard for us to say no.
Right. We've created the monster. Like, we have no one
Yeah.
to blame but ourselves, but we're also not going to stop feeding the monster. So it
Well,
is
so I
what
was
it
gonna say,
is.
how do you retrain that monster then?
Yeah.
You
You,
know,
you
that's
can't.
no, you can't. And so, and I feel bad because like for myself with my kids, you know, in certain moments of the day on the weekends, and I'm trying to spend time with them and do the activities with them, but I know there's a big wedding that's going on, and I know I have people in place, but at the end of the day, you know that somebody's going to call you, and when they call you, you better have the answer. And if you don't have the answer right away, then that's where it all goes downhill.
Yeah. But we choose this industry,
I
and
know.
you know, I wouldn't want it any other way. I absolutely love my personal journey. I look back on things I've done with a lot of gratitude and pride, and I'm okay with it.
So, what's been the most rewarding part of this journey so far then?
For me, it's the growth, and it's the personal growth and the growth of the team. I mean, I have people on my team throughout the years that I've seen not even know what a tent is, to go on to have remarkable careers and do remarkable projects. They are they are my tribe. I'm so proud of them. Many of those folks are at other providers right now, mostly in the rental space still, and they're killing it. They're doing fantastic, and I really look forward to seeing them continue to grow. And I hope that in my current role, I have the opportunity to help other members of the rental community across the country grow as well. It's again, like I said before, that brings me the most joy.
Absolutely. And if you could go
So
back and kind of give your younger self one piece of advice, what do you think it would be?
Advocate for yourself, and it's it's okay to stand up for yourself. It's okay to push back. It's okay to ask for clarity. And it's okay to take a minute and say, hey, do I really want this? Is this the direction I really want to go in? And I would say for anyone that is, especially you mentioned the younger folks, younger women entering this industry, I would say the same to them.
Absolutely.
yeah. So you were involved in some purchases when you were with Peak, and you were also there when they were acquired. Talk to me about like the state of the industry. How do you see these mergers and acquisitions going across the board? Because it seems like we're seeing it a lot more and more.
Yeah, there's a really it's an interesting time, right? And if I can, you can edit this out if you want. But if I can, go ahead and plug. We're doing a great succession session at Matra in 2 weeks. Some of you guys know I'm on the board and run the education for Matra, so great succession planning session. But the tent industry in general, this evolution, right? It started with a lot of folks that, like your dad, you know, started 40, 50, 60 years ago and said, hey, this looks interesting. I think I'm going to add this to my inventory, to my offerings. And they sort of built the plane while they were flying it, right? They weren't
Yeah.
buying the business from someone else. They were developing the industry, building it from the ground up. And now you have this time where succession doesn't look like the familial succession that you often see in many businesses. And so what does that exit look like? They all started together 40 years ago, and now everyone's on that same time frame of planning what their exit looks like. So you're seeing a lot of folks riding that post-COVID growth wave too, taking advantage of the timing so that they can exit with a fantastic multiple. I think we're going to continue to see more of that, continue to see more consolidation, both with private equity and with owner operators that are scooping up smaller regional or local providers to help expand their footprint geographically. So a lot of movement in my opinion in the coming years as we look at this generational hump that we have in front of us.
You brought up the post-COVID growth curve. Do you think we're over the hump now and coming back down, or do you still think we're on an upward trajectory?
I think that's a different answer based on geography and market segment. Some market segments are going to continue to see that growth. Some are going to see things normalize. We started seeing things normalize in maybe the end of 2024. Things kind of tailed. And maybe 25 was the year of normalization, but we're still seeing, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure the CAGR which is the annual growth rate for this industry, is like 9.2% or something, which is a pretty high number. So if you're positioned well within your market with the right people, the right product, and the right process, I think we're going to still see that significant growth. I mean, 9 points annually is not bad.
Best piece of advice for someone.
Best piece of advice for someone.
It can be somebody into the industry, somebody as a whole.
Okay. I'm going to give you two answers if that's okay. The first one is kind of like a macro collaboration over competition. Going back to this generational hump that we just talked about, folks like the Hollands and Kyle, your dad, like, it was all collaborative. They built this industry together. They picked up the phone and said, I got this. Do you need that? This job just called. They're in your market, not mine. That type of collaboration, I think we're losing it a little bit. And I tell the folks that have worked with me over the years, like, you, as they go off into other markets and new organizations, like, you have the opportunity to be a part of this next generation of collaborators. Do that. Don't do the competition thing in that dog-eat-dog cutthroat way. There's enough for everyone if we all work together. So collaboration over competition is a big thing for me. And I think the second thing is, when you're building your business, if you're just starting out, make sure you're data-driven. And data doesn't mean looking at spreadsheets every day. It's finding a way to communicate in a consumable way for you or other stakeholders in your organization the key metrics that they need, and let those metrics drive your business. Again, I'll keep going back to the generational, a lot of folks build these businesses with their gut instincts, and like, kudos to that. I do not discount that at all. Times have changed, things have changed. We have to be data driven, and you have to know your numbers. And I think there's a little bit of this idea that means you're just sitting in and looking at a spreadsheet all day long, and that's not the case. There's such great technology out there that can help everyone. So I would say, don't discount the data. Let you work on your business, not in your business, so that you can see the growth that you want and create either the business, the brand, or the lifestyle that you're hoping for.
Yeah.
That's solid, and I love the generational hump comment. That's stuck with me, because it does feel like we got to a good place with a lot of people running businesses on kind of their gut and how they got here, and they did great. And now it's kind of that next transition of everybody working on the data piece to kind of keep it going and keep it moving forward, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, we would acquire businesses when I was at Peak. We would acquire businesses, and like, a truck would show up to deliver the file cabinets. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is like dot matrix printers, triplex paper. Like, this is what it looked like, and that's great. It's just, we're not there anymore. So
Right.
It's a tough transition, but it's important.
We'll get through it. We'll get through it together. But
Yeah.
well,
We're all in this together.
yeah, it's been great having you on today.
Yeah.
We wrapped up another episode today, and looking forward to continuing to watch your journey. Glad that you made your way back to the industry. I think everybody was a little worried to see what was happening if you just disappeared. But now you're back in full force. So it'll be cool to see what you do with the creativity over there at Fred's, and we'll all be watching, and as well as everything else that you do in the industry as a whole. So thank you for coming on today.
I appreciate it. And you guys might be watching me, but I'll be listening to you. I appreciate all the work that you guys have done, and really looking forward to see where you guys take this, because it's a great tool for folks to have in their toolkit. So thank you.
We really appreciate that.
And as always, like and subscribe to anywhere where you find your podcast. See us on YouTube. Yeah, this has been another episode of Under the Vinyl.